Hello and welcome to JomezPro's coverage of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We are here in Vermont at Smugglers Notch, Discraft's Green Mountain Championship presented by Grip Equipment. BigSexy Commentary here with you, Nate Sexton, Jeremy Koling.
And we have one of the most beautiful courses lined up for you guys this weekend. It is just a pleasure to be up here in Jeffersonville/Stowe, Vermont, which
We're not in a town. We're at the resort, man. We're living off the grid.
We're at Smugglers Notch, baby. And we've got the former world champion, Gregg Barsby, out here at the place where he won the world championships. And now we have the current world champion and five-time world champion, Paul McBeth. Austin Hannum, a player who's just really broken out over the last 2 seasons, out here in a T-shirt.
It's a performance tee.
It is a performance tee.
That'll work. And we've got Andrew Marwede out of Michigan.
He's a player that has been playing incredibly well lately, and you can see some of his stats in the last few events. He's definitely making a late season push.
Hole 1, 315, straight, then to the right.
Yeah,
but what I really want to say is, my commentary partner, one last day in the pastels, trying to squeeze every last drop out of summer like he always does, but that fall season's coming.
Fall season is definitely coming, and it is coming up here faster than anywhere else. And the colors, the changing of the colors is so evident out here.
On this car, from Grass Valley, California, 2018 World Champion, Gregg Barsby.
And you got to know, you just got to feel for how special this place is for Gregg Barsby. And something that he'll never forget for his entire life, winning the world championships out here. I'm sure that's some sort of eagle, or I would imagine that's an eagle. That's just a straight shot. On this hole, when you're throwing a sidearm, even though it's breaking right, you're really not trying to fade the disc at all to the right because it kind of slopes away from the green.
Yeah, it's a good hole design in that way, I think, where it looks like, certainly it does bend very slightly right. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of a sucker's play to really try hard to go right. You really just want that straight shot.
Yep. And if you look out the gap, you can see that tree that's kind of in line with the green PDGA banner in the background. That's exactly the tree you're trying to aim at. And Paul turns this over, and yep, and that's the problem. If you try to get sneaky and turn it,
yeah,
you can hit these early trees here. You want to go for that good, honest, straight point-to-point play.
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
Austin Hannum looking like he's lining up a raptor, I believe. He's going for the flex here. Austin has such a beautiful, controlled flex forehand. That one's just a bit long here at the edge of the circle, but his form is just unlike anyone else's I've ever seen.
And I have not had much chance to really see Andrew play. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm with you there, buddy.
Smooth forehand out of the gate.
Mm-hmm. And skipping right to it into the wood chips. Beautiful shot.
That's that difference. Angle control as he comes in mostly with forward energy on the shot. Not much skip.
And Paul off the rim, missing one of the easier holes on the course to start the event. Also with a nice putt just out the side of the circle. It's always nice to get that first putt out of the way, especially if it's, one of those challenging 33-footers.
I think it's one of the best feelings in the world. Mm-hmm. When you're first hole of a tournament, you just kind of still got those nerves. You're not real happy with your drive. You're 45 feet away, and if you make that putt, you're like,
let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on.
As we see Gregg, nice birdie.
Mm-hmm. A little forceful mini there for Paul. He's really disappointed by that par there. I would imagine.
I don't feel like we see Paul use a mini in that situation very often.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it looks so aggressive. I'm just not used to seeing it. And a nice park job from Andrew Marwede.
Starts to get a little more interesting on hole 2. Par 4, uphill the whole way, 550 feet. You've got the old historical farm wall, the rocks over there as an OB line on the right side. really specific landing zone because as you can see, those trees kind of pinch in from the left. So you need to be right, but not too right in order to access the second part of this fairway and get up here on the green. As you can see, that OB, though, inside circle 1.
Yeah, and the hole 1 really isn't a true indication of what this course has to offer. Hole 2 is very much about what you're going to see for the rest of this course. And Barsby with a nice controlled shot, just a little bit short of the short tee, which is a great place to be.
Yeah, he'll be happy there.
But this is the second hardest hole. We just jump right back into difficult holes here. 4.25 average.
And that's going to be a good little slide, but still, I think he's going to struggle to access the fairway. He does have a nice forehand flex, so he might have a play from there.
Yeah, it's imperative for you to be on the right side of the fairway when you finish. Now, are we going for the flex play?
This might be dangerous. What a kick.
Okay.
It's going to still not the greatest spot. They're both a little bit more left than you'd like, but they're going to be fine with that, especially because Andrew might have been testing that OB line if he went through those trees.
And Paul with a flip-up play. This needs to get a little bit of the Anheuser skip and does not. Birdie is pretty much out of play at that position.
If you can say that about McBeth, then you know he's in a tough spot.
Yeah.
We'll see if he proves us wrong. Oh, that's scary.
That's a little bit of maybe an intentional thrower.
Wow, that is so fortunate. That was kind of screaming over there at the out of bounds. Looks like he contacts the rocks pretty strongly, and he's going to stay in bounds. And see, this flex is difficult.
Yeah, this has got to hit a tree. No, that's going to be out of bounds. McBeth actually got enough distance where he's got the open uphill putt that we have seen him make like 45% of the time from 50 feet.
But if he makes that after bouncing off the rocks, we're still not wrong. You guys know at home. We had the right call. It wasn't possible. He just did it anyway.
And you could see the difficulty there for Austin's approach. It just was a little bit too cut off the angle. This is exactly where you want to be.
Barsby. Gregg's missed the shot.
Okay. Yeah, that commitment is so difficult going uphill, and then he had a root in his run up. I mean, there's a lot of different things that made that shot difficult.
That's well done. Should be an easy par for Gregg. A little disappointing, though, with that great drive. Good approach. And Paul for birdie.
Just off the top, and Paul has started off 2 putts outside the circle, miss so far. You know, he's feeling that, but I think being even par through these 2 isn't the worst thing in the world. Obviously, you want to start the tournament off with a birdie on hole 1, but it doesn't spell the end of your day by any means, of course.
Andrew makes a nice par save there after going OB over the wall, and all the rest of our players with no OB are going to tap in pars as well.
Yeah, I guess with that OB being so close to the basket, maybe not a bad play to just throw something as far up that hill as you can. I mean, obviously that's what you're trying to do anyways, but if you go out of bounds, it's not the biggest penalty.
Hole 3, par 3, 325. This one's uphill, almost blind. You can just barely see that flag stick. If you're me, if you're Jerm, you can probably see the base of the basket. But you're just trying to go up the hill, maybe just slightly left. I think a medium stability mid-range is a really popular choice here for a right-hander. I kind of target this big tree. If you're near the big tree, you know you're doing pretty well. Gregg, a great half-speed driver thrower, although on this particular instance, not the best. But he goes with that eagle at a slow speed. Fantastic. Probably better than anyone else.
Just a slight misrelease for Gregg. Austin will try to step up and show him how it's done there with the mid-range, and that's just looking pure.
Yeah, this is great. The rock work and everything with this green, it's beautiful.
There's so much of that on this course, which really makes it so enjoyable. You know, not only are you playing on a course that is just a fair challenge in the woods that's fun and challenging and beautiful, but you have like cairns set up around the course, and there's just nice little things that are, you know, a little bit extra stuff that makes it just feel a little bit more special.
Looks like Paul's going to get on the board with a perfect drive there. We see Andrew just inside the circle.
And Barsby's lining this one up as if he's going to run it a bit.
I think he runs them all.
That's how he became a world champion. You see that down the stretch last year. That big putt on hole 11, just down the hill, 60 feet. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet. Like, go back to the 2018 World Championships, and you're going to see some big putts from Mr. Barsby.
Oh, Andrew, just on that right side.
And McBeth does some things, subtle things that no one really notices, but you should definitely give him credit for. Like, today matches his putter with his outfit. That's next level addressing the important concerns on a disc golf course.
And Gregg, as we just mentioned, he's an aggressive player. It's a feast or famine style.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a world title.
Yeah.
So, I mean, wouldn't you happily lose every other tournament for the rest of your life?
I would very happily lose every tournament for the rest of my life for a world championships. I think that's a trade that maybe only McBeth and Ricky, the players who have currently won a world title that are on tour, would not trade for, but everyone else would probably make that trade.
Something tells me you'd get about 6 months into losing tournaments and you wouldn't be as happy as you think.
I'm on a year and a half, buddy, and I'd take that trade all day long.
Hole 4 is a beauty. As you saw the drone go up there, it breaks a little right initially, and then you've got another secondary fairway for the second shot that's straight. Tough finish because there's a lot of trees late. This forehand shot is popular, but this is a little too high. I think it's going to get a little bit into the woods.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Just needed to keep that a bit lower so he does not drift all the way to the right. And a good gap hit, a nice power, but that's not going to really concede a good result.
If this flexes, it could be big. Unfortunately, kicks, and there's not going to be a lot over there. He's going to have some skinny gaps. Might be possible to reach the green with a really nice forehand. We'll see what he's got. Gregg, a little errant here.
Pulled inside, and if that gets all the way through, he'd be fine, but it's going to be pretty tricky behind that bunker of trees off to the left.
I would think a 4 would be a fantastic score from over there where Gregg and Paul have landed.
And Marwede going for the flex bet, which I think is a nice play if you have it, but he's also going to drift off to the right.
It's going to be tough for anybody to birdie this.
Yeah.
I think these are all out of position.
I feel like the 1-2 and then 3-4 stretch is like kind of mirrored. You have an easy par 3 and then a difficult, tight, uphill par 4. And then you have an easy par 3 and then the same exact thing again. And it's a nice little stretch. You kind of balance that easy and difficult back and forth.
2 and 4 are very similar in their feel of like what it takes to throw a great shot. And Paul finds this back fairway that I've never really seen anybody use.
Yeah, neither have I. And that's like only if you're really out of position do you ever see anyone access that fairway.
Andrew from the woods. Oh, no.
Yeah, and now 4 would be just an absolute delight for Andrew because that is going to be in that really thick forest of tiny trees, which really doesn't give you any preferred fairway. You're just going to have to poke and hope.
It doesn't look like anybody is even inside circle 2.
This is how this course challenges even the best technical players. There's just so many times when you're going to find yourself in a spot where you have got to come up with a big-time approach. Andrew going to be a little bit outside the circle, I believe, after that approach.
And Gregg did really well to get himself just into the middle. No trees to deal with. Didn't try for too much. I think that's the temptation on that second shot when you're out of position. The way you get in trouble is by, playing that hero play.
Paul with a nice touch Anheuser approach with his zone. That'll be a tap-in par for Paul, and he's going to remain at 1 under through 4 holes.
Last chance for a big birdie.
Wow.
That was pretty close.
Yeah, that was an incredible effort from Austin.
Just on the right side.
Yep. Going to have to settle for the bogey here. And that's a good par save for Gregg. Catching a tree coming into the green. Big time save. Looks like Andrew's going to be the first player on our card with a red number on their scorecard.
Paul a long time, and he has always loved a nice steel drum.
He has the biggest collection of steel drums. Actually, this is a little known fact. He has 14 steel drums that he travels with at all times.
Hole 5, par 3, 285. This is going straight up the gut, OB on the left, and then as you can see, it goes a little downhill, but there's no OB down there. Forehand is a great play here. Really straight backhand also works. I'm going to see Austin take the driver. You can make the fairway, then as this goes around the corner, yes, you just hope for a tree.
Yeah.
And he got it.
Yeah, that's the way to play this hole. It seemed to be coming in a bit fast. I think
most drivers do. We're going to see Paul go to a mid-range.
Wow. And really committing to that angle. That looks really nice.
Going to see a little slower speed into the green here and rewarded with no luck required park job. And we're going to see that one more time.
That was truly perfect. The speed, the angle down the middle is never in danger of ever hitting a tree. And then just right now, starting to break down. I mean, just no better shot you can throw in this hole than throwing that shot down the middle with a mid-range.
Likely eagle. And nice little kiss. Ooh,
Okay.
but then shut down. He's going to be in range, 45 feet maybe.
Kind of a fun but a little bit scary putt for Barsby going downhill because he has that downhill hyzer, which can sometimes move quite a bit on the ground if it doesn't hit flat, which Barsby's putt usually does not hit flat. So he's got to draw a medal on this downhill run. And hopefully just make it. Or hopefully just make it. Awesome putt.
Dead center.
That's such a fun putt to run, and when you know that you've made it, like Barsby, I'm sure knew out of his hand because that was just dead center.
He's one of the best, top 3 in the world. If you had like a 45-foot death putt that just has to be made, line him up.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Marwede just sailing right, just a bit there. Once again, 2 holes in a row. It's just barely missed. Par save made. Still haven't come up to McBeth's drive yet. Just, I don't think I've ever seen anyone that pure on this hole. I've seen some shots parked before, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone take the fairway at such a central point all the way down and to just absolutely park Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Automatic stroke on me. James Conrad.
I missed the joke. I missed it. I hate missing jokes.
Hole 6, par 3, 365. This one goes straight ahead and then breaks left down the hill to this basket location by the stone wall. Popular play here for me anyway. I throw a mid-range, I go straight through, and right at about the moment where I go, that looks pretty good, I hit a tree, and I'm about 70 short.
That's a popular play.
That's generally what I do. Right at that moment where I start to utter, I think I got it.
And Paul, this is uber tight. And that's going to kick a tree, come up way short inside. Could even be a tricky up and down.
And Gregg, even with the eagle here, this is a short hole going downhill. This is a little inside.
Yeah, I think he maybe was worried about the speed as well, but maybe not. Just he knew it was too tight. They actually moved the basket on this one just a bit. They brought it up the hill and to the right about maybe less than 30 feet even.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially what they've done...
Oh, the back door.
Look at that. Oh, yeah. Park job for Austin going through everything.
And I just feel like you have no idea from the tee. You get down there, you're like, probably hit the dead middle, I guess.
Yeah, you have no... Right. You just see the disc there, and that's all that matters anyways.
This is going around the main gap and sneaking through the back. Beautifully done.
It really wasn't even close to hitting any trees either.
Hard to tell up there at the top, but yeah, it worked perfectly.
But what they've done by bringing this basket away from the rock wall is given a little bit less of that safe buffer. If you just throw it too far and you hit the rock wall, then you've got a pretty short putt. Well, you don't have that short putt anymore. Now you've got like a 45-footer.
It makes this shot a lot harder, too, I feel. Oh, no. and that next shot. Anytime you still have downhill to navigate, and you can't count on that rock wall as much.
Look at this stance.
Wow, very awkward for Paul. And he goes to the ground after the throw. Does he make it?
Oh, my word.
Just dust off my hands. Job well done.
Just phenomenal. I mean, the creativity there and the execution at the same time.
He's a fairly serious guy on the course. I mean, he'll joke around with you if you know him, but I think whenever he stands up after a shot and he's got that goofy grin, if it impressed him enough for him to be like, that was an incredible shot because I bet you he hit a tiny gap.
Yeah,
nearly skipped it in.
Barsby from 60
my
feet.
Gosh, heating up.
Yeah, he is. That's awesome.
Gosh.
My two favorite players to watch jump putt, James Conrad, Gregg Barsby. Coincidentally, both long hair. Not that we can see it today so much with Barsby having it wrapped up, but just having that full execution of that, laying out, giving it everything you've got. And, man, they've got that jump putt down to an art.
Great birdie.
And Marwede's got to pick things up here. He's slipping off a bit off the pace. 1 over par. These other players are all at 3. Well, Paul's at 2, excuse me, but still all under par.
Hole 7 is a tough one. Par 4, 665. Longer tee location than we've played in years past. The prevailing play, go with a backhand down the fairway where the drone flies here. Try to make it up at least this far where this gap is available to you, or a little farther and hit that next gap over the gravel road. And then you've got this beautiful green up here. Nothing really out of bounds on this hole. Just a lot of tough trees on both the left and the right.
And you can see on this FollowFlight, or this the drone flight here, that we're going over that short tee pad, which is just about 50 feet further up.
Mm-hmm.
And they made this hole just about 15 or 10% longer maybe, but it made it about 50% harder. It's just a much fuller shot, and that early inside route really isn't accessible.
But I think we saw Gregg just go for it.
Yeah, but it's still kind of it's not the greatest lane. The place you want to be is far and straight. That's really the best way to access to the your next shot to the green. And I think Austin's going to be just short of that sweet spot. Paul is looking perfect here. Yeah, that little bit of extra distance that Paul got is going to make a big difference as far as how easy that next shot will be. Marwede, there was a little bit of issues with the slick tee pad here. Marwede does get the sawed off early hyzer pretty far up the hill. He could have a good look to the green from there, actually. But you can see from where Gregg is, it's just really not that great. But if he's got the flick roller and it doesn't hit anything.
Still hard-working shot. Keeps fighting forward for him into circle 2, perhaps.
Yeah. There will be a few trees between him and the basket where that landed. Oh,
that is
door flex. That's
very
looking
nice.
Really good. Yeah, great shot, Andrew.
Austin with that Anheuser. Does it roll on him?
Yeah, just a bit too much Anheuser angle. A little bit too low at the same time. But you can see just Paul has maybe a single tree in the way. And he's by that, and he's up to the rock wall. 15 feet left for birdie.
Nice shot.
Something I've noticed from, as Austin just barely misses that putt, something I've noticed from players that have a very strong hyzer angle on their putt. Good birdie from Andrew. Players like Garrett Gurthie, Gregg Barsby, and James Snappy Cole, if you know Snappy Cole, is that their spin throw is one of the smoothest flat spin throws that I've ever seen. The three of them do a really good job of that little air bounce spin throw. Mm-hmm. but they also putt hyzer. And it's a really interesting contrast with those two different approaches depending on where they are relative to the green.
But enough tools to handle pretty much any problem if you
Exactly.
can do both of those things.
Correct.
Hole 8, par 4, 610, playing much longer, as this is very uphill. You've got a very, very constrained drive. You'd like to find a way up here with maybe a low backhand. And then if you can get this next shot, as you can see, it just gets skinnier and skinnier as you work your way up the fairway. It's just so far. I feel like my commentary partner's digging into the stats. I'm guessing, is this not the number one handicap? Is that why you're throwing up your hands?
It is the hardest hole in the course.
Okay, good.
4.31. Only 11% of the field was able to birdie this hole, and it is just a doozy.
Uh-oh. Oh, misses it. That was going to be a bad kick.
Instead, it's
just perfect now. I mean, he got by it. He threw the shot he needed to throw. I was worried it was going to catch that tree and go just way right. But as you can see, I mean, that tree is right in the zone where you need to be throwing the disc.
And I like this play from Marwede, actually. This is off to the left side of the fairway, which accesses a really nice alleyway up to the green. I like Paul's play too, obviously, but I think the best place to be is off to the left.
And that's the shape you're dreaming of, because he pulls it a little right to start, avoiding that tree, and he's in the middle in a great spot.
I loved it, and it hit that branch, and I was thinking, oh, no, it's going to take the distance off, but Barsby fought through and still is in a great spot.
And here is a roller. Doesn't really get through for him.
There's just so many roots, and that ground plays a little soft. You never really know how it's going to hit the ground.
And Big Annie now.
That was a huge advance.
Uh-oh. Well, actually, that looks kind of open from this angle.
Yeah, kind of hard to tell what he's got left, but it doesn't appear to be too much. This is still a far shot. Barsby going for the flex backdoor play with the sidearm.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that is inside 11 feet.
Incredible shot.
Not something you're going to see very often on this hole. And Andrew going for the same thing here.
Wow.
And,
stump.
Catching a stump. I'm a little stumped on how that could possibly happen. It was such a good-looking shot. That's just smiling and saying, watch this.
Oh, boy.
Jeez.
A couple of park jobs, and Andrew in with a chance as well.
Yeah, I thought you just slipped out.
So pretty challenging here. But making easy work of, well, actually, now he's got a long putt. He's pushing the back edge of the circle, so came in a little bit hot on the angle, but did a good job to get out of the trees unscathed.
Andrew for birdie.
Just blasted that. Huge putt.
Great putt.
We're going to see, most likely we're going to see 3 birdies on hole 6, or hole 8. And a par. 300, I mean, you're never going to see a card go 300 on this hole ever again, I don't think. That's incredible.
It is.
And this is one when you pick up, you were feeling really good about yourself. It's just each shot is so far.
Let's take a look at the U-Disc leaderboard. Through 8 holes, Zach Melton, Nicola Castra at -6. The American Classic, Weston Isaacs at -5.
Yeah.
We got some giveaways from Delaware, Grip 6 belts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, first off, we've got Gus. His friends call him Gustafer Campbell.
Yeah, congratulations. And we've also got Jacob Cat Daddy Moline.
Cat Daddy Supreme.
Hole 9, par 3, 370. This one's slightly downhill, narrow tunnel the whole way, and then a pretty big slope behind the basket. You'd like to throw the backhand mid-range or fairway driver and hit the ground right where you can see it, kind of control your speed and just kind of hop over the ridge. If you fly over the ridge, probably going to be tough to stop before the pin without the aid of some friendly trees, because it's just going to want to glide down there into the woods.
And Paul is going to be going with the ESP Buzz. And that is looking pretty good, folks. Going to come up a bit short. I was kind of expecting to see that just crest over the hill and just slide down to Park City.
What do you think this is?
something very understable, and
mid-rangey.
I definitely appreciate that play. As you see him slide over that circle 2 flag, that will be a layup most likely because that is a very scary putt.
That was a really nice shot, though. If you're playing for 3, I mean, well done.
And Barsby just blasting past the basket. As you said, if you don't hit something, if you're not slowing down coming into the green, you're going to go all the way down. And interesting there, Austin teed off probably midway back on the tee, it looked like there. And some of these tees have a bit of a mound, and they slope down on the back end, towards the end of the tee pad. And it gets a little bit slick. We did have rain a couple days before the event and made some of these tees a little bit slicker than they normally would be, I think. But we've seen him slip on a couple of tee pads already.
Paul with a bit of a death putt. Doesn't go too terribly far past the pin for him.
And Marwede's kind of looking like he's going to be running after this.
Ooh. Gutsy effort.
I was in a similar place, and I did not have any sort of idea of running that putt. Barsby, however, with the uphill, that's all green light there. And good result after a nice effort from about 60 feet. Good par save. I got to go back to hole 2. I just completely forgot to give a shout out to the man, Brian Earhart. Brian Earhart, ladies and gentlemen, just look at hole 2 and imagine somebody throwing only 2 shots on that hole. The first shot apparently was a bad shot that kicked off to the right, and he flicked something up the fairway. I think I heard it was a heat, and made it for 2.
Wow.
And I just completely forgot. Also, on hole 6, we had a hole-in-one.
Shout him out.
I got to get the name real quick before this ends. I got to give the name.
Well, I'll get to the outro.
Finley Buchanan Jacobs.
Okay, we got him. Good, congratulations. That's going to do it for our front 9 from the Brewster Ridge course. Thanks, as always, to the JomezPro Founders Club. Look at the beauty of Vermont. Get back here for the back 9. We're going to record it right now.